Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark, and the Eagles are back from the bye. They've got their second half of the season coming up. They have a chance to get to 500 for the first time this year against the Giants on Sunday. Let's bring in Mike Quick and Ike Reese, and I will start with you, Mike Quick. We saw the Eagles come back to beat the Giants with 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter a few weeks ago. How can they make sure for a full game that they don't have to do that again?
Guys, I don't think it's a big mystery. It's all about ball security. It's about making sure that you don't give up possessions to the other side. That leads to getting points, that leads to time of possession and not allowing the other team to have the football. It really comes down to securing the football, and I think they'll do a better job of that in the second half of the season. That'll make a huge difference.
Mike Quick, Carson Wentz leads the NFL with 16 turnovers. Do you believe, are you confident he can cut down on them in the second half?
I am. You know, they get a chance to sit back and look at the issues and the problems that they had in the first half of the season, and that is at the top of the list of their issues. I think they'll get it right in the second half.
All right, Ike Reese, big return for Miles Sanders. He's averaging 87 yards a game. Only Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are averaging more. How big of a boost is this for the Eagles offense?
Oh, it's a huge boost. And it's a huge boost not only to the offense, but to Carson Wentz. Now he can play complementary football. And to Doug Peterson, when you're putting in a game plan and how you're devising how you're going to attack the second half of the season. Now you have a reliable running game, as long as Miles Sanders is healthy, that you're going to be able to depend on. And with the offensive line getting healthy, I think that bodes well for this offense going in the second half. They have to have a balanced attack. And Mike talks about being able to take care of the football from Carson Wentz's standpoint. I think having a reliable running game will be able to aid him and lessen that burden of feeling as if he has to do everything. Miles Sanders plus a healthy offensive line, I think that's a great formula for success.
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago, the Eagles came back to beat the Giants, and the Eagles are getting healthier. They're going to be a different offense, and the Giants' defense getting a little better. They're going to be a little different. With more on that, here's Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell.
So this week, the Philadelphia Eagles have their first rematch of the season within the NFC East. It's the New York Giants. Now remember, 3 weeks ago, an unbelievable win led by Carson Wentz in the final 6 minutes of that game. But let's remember one thing. This New York Giants defense is a little bit different from just 3 weeks ago. And this is a defense that has some really strong staples to it, particularly when they're in their sub packages. Their nickel with 5 defensive backs and their dime with 6 defensive backs. They have multiple front looks. They stunt a lot up front. And they're very good with disguise and late movement in the secondary. This is a foundational staple of what they do. And the final interception last week against Washington was very representative of this. What they do here is they disguise. It's going to end up being cover 2 invert. And the middle hole defender is safety Logan Ryan. And you can see that Alex Smith doesn't quite pick up what the defense is. He's focused on Jabril Peppers. And once he sees Peppers widen, because Peppers is an underneath defender in cover 2, he doesn't really pick up Logan Ryan as the middle hole defender, because Ryan came from the other side initially in a deep safety alignment. And that wrapped up the game for the Giants against Washington. But this is very reflective of what the Giants do defensively. They're a tough defense to prepare for. They're a tough defense to play against. A lot of disguise, a lot of late movement, and they're very good up front. They don't have one pure pass rusher, but they're very good up front with their stunts. So this is a big test for the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
Yeah, the Giants' defense is playing better. They're pretty good against the run, and their last 3 losses have been by a total of 6 points. So the Giants are playing better football. Mike Quick, the Eagles only had 10 points on offense going into that fourth quarter in that last win against the Giants. They came back with the 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. What can they do better against this Giants defense?
Well, the key is going to be to execute. Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, he's going to give the quarterback a lot of things to process, pre-snap, post-snap. And the key, John, Ike, making sure that you understand what they're doing and take advantage of it. If you look at this play, it starts with a two-deep safety look. But on the snap, watch them rotate. The right side safety, he goes down in the box. The left side safety, he goes back to the middle of the field. Right away, Carson Wentz realized he's got one-on-ones on the outside. He's got a speedy receiver in John Hightower to his right, and he understands that Hightower is going to beat that cornerback. So right away, he makes the right decision, gets the ball down the field to Hightower for a 50-yard pickup. It's all about execution. They're going to give you some looks pre-snap and rotate, but if Carson's on point, they're going to get some big plays out of it.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today.
Hey, that's fourth. We good. Let's go. That's fourth. We good. Yep. Go get him, Flex. Let's get a tackle for loss right here, man. Get right off the field. Let's go, baby. Go! Go! Hey, bro. Congratulations on your first start, bro. Yeah, congratulations on your first. Let's go and get better, baby. Yeah, good luck the rest of the year. Yeah, you too, bro.
All right, that was cool seeing Avonte Maddox mic'd up. In that last game against the Giants, the Eagles had 8 quarterback hits on Daniel Jones. And other than Carson Wentz, with the turnovers and the sacks, really Daniel Jones has turned the ball over more than any quarterback, and he has taken a ton of sacks. So, Ike Reese, when you go back to that last game, how can they continue to get that pressure on Daniel Jones?
Well, we talked about this in the first matchup versus the Giants. It's important that you sort of cloud the picture for Daniel Jones. Confuse him at the line of scrimmage, drop guys out in coverage, make him hold on to the football. He's been a guy that's prone to turnovers, and it happened in that first game. Now you watch him here. I love some of the things that Jim Schwartz is doing with his front and bringing pressures. Now he wants to ultimately bring a 4-man pressure here. But what's great about this design is that the pressure is going to come from a different level, and that's what confuses Daniel Jones. You're going to get Cravon LeBlanc and Nate Gary coming from the outside bringing pressure. Now at the snap of the ball, here's what I like. You get 4 defensive linemen engaged with the offensive linemen, but here's where Daniel Jones gets in trouble. You're going to get Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox dropping out as 2 defensive tackles. That forces Daniel Jones to hold the ball here. Look at Fletcher Cox. He actually looks up the receiver Daniel Jones wants to throw the ball to. And because Fletcher is there, Daniel Jones is forced to pull this ball down. That allows Nate Gary to get the huge sack here. These are things that Daniel Jones, as a young quarterback, still struggles with as far as being able to get rid of the football on time. And a lot of it has to do with the picture for him being clouded. This is something Jim Schwartz has had success against Daniel Jones the last 2 years. I would expect to see more of that in this game against the Giants this week.
One of the things we've seen in the last number of weeks with the New York Giants and their offense, they've developed a bit of a run game. It's not a dominant run game, but it's an important part of what they do offensively. Now, there's no question when you play the Philadelphia Eagles and that excellent defensive front, that running the ball is a bit of a challenge. But the reality for the Giants is they're going to need to have some efficiency with their run game. And one tactic they've used very, very well over the last number of weeks, it's become a staple, is the gap scheme run game. And that's the counter play and the power play. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a counter run from last week against Washington. One of the things that makes this run interesting is there's not a lot of mystery to it. They line up in what we call 13 personnel, 3 tight ends, and the I-back is Alfred Morris. And we're going to start on the front side of the run, because what you get with a gap scheme run is you get the double team on the front side, and you get the tackle working up to the backside linebacker, the backside stacked linebacker. And that's exactly what happens here. And this is really well executed by the guard and the tackle. Now, let's go back and take a look at really what makes it counter. Just take a look at the pulling guard. That's going to be Shane Lemieux, the left guard, pulling across the formation. I also want you to take a look at the tight end, Caden Smith, coming all the way across the formation. Now, because of what Washington did here against this 3 tight end set, normally the block for Smith would be the play side linebacker. But here, it's actually a safety in the box, Cameron Curl, number 31. Smith will work across the formation and block Curl, and he does this really, really well. He pancakes him, and there's room for Morris with the double team, with the block by Smith, to get to the second and the third level of the defense. And this run has been a staple of the Giants' offense the last number of weeks. Now, they are going to need to run the football, as I said. We'll see if they can do it. Because if the Eagles can shut down the run game, then they can put pressure on Daniel Jones. And we know that Jones, throughout the first part of the season, has been a little erratic and inconsistent. So stopping the run, putting the Giants in long yardage, critical for the Eagles' defense.
All right, yeah, the Giants had their rushing game going against the Washington football team, 166 yards in that win over Washington. So, Mike Quick, is there a specific running back for the Giants that kind of concerns you going into this game?
Well, I think, John, the tandem of Alfred Morris and Wayne Gallman, they combined for 135 of those rushing yards that you just spoke about, and that's going to be the key to me. I think if you get Daniel Jones in a situation where he's one-dimensional and he's got to throw the football, I don't think he can win that way. I think if they're able to stop the run game, shut down the run game, and keep in mind the Eagles are 24th in the National Football League in stopping the run, so it's a tall task, but if they're able to stop the run, shut down the run, I don't think the Giants can beat them simply passing the football.
Yeah, now the Giants almost beat the Eagles that last game if Evan Ingram didn't drop the football. And Ike Reese, Evan, has the most drops by any tight end in football since he came to the Giants in 2017. But what kind of matchup problems does he pose?
Well, he's a difficult matchup for anyone every week. When you look at the combination of speed, athleticism, the size that he has, I mean, he's really a wide receiver who's masquerading as a tight end. 29 targets for Evan Ingram over the last 3 games, and that includes in that first game versus the Eagles where he had 9 targets. Drops have been a big issue for this former first-round draft pick, but Daniel Jones has a lot of faith and confidence in him because he continues to go to him. He's also a problem because they'll give him the ball in the running game as well. So Evan Ingram, a matchup nightmare from an athletic standpoint for a lot of defenses, is still a focal point of this Giants offense. The one problem for him is his inconsistency of being able to catch the football, but usually he's open. So the Eagles must make sure that they pay attention to where he's at all times.
All right, Wentz lines them up again, but they're at the 18. Wentz is back. He's looking, still looking. He starts to go. He is firing. Scott, touchdown! Boston Scott!
What a catch.
Corner at the goal line and went in.
I mean, I just checked my protection, and then after that, I got out in the space. You know, I knew throughout the game we had been running short routes into the flat, and Peppers was coming out with me into the flat pretty much every time. And on that one, you know, I just kind of set it up, and then he went to me, so that was cool.
I mean, he wasn't the primary read on that play, and the way it happened, I stepped up in the pocket, and the guy had pretty good coverage, but, you know, giving Boston a chance there to make a play, and he did. I mean, he plays bigger than, you know, whatever he is, 5'7". He plays bigger than that, and he made a great play. play. And obviously there was a lot of emotions there. It was kind of a big exciting moment, but a big kind of sigh of relief because we know we left a lot of plays out there, but the way we battled and found a way at the end of the game was huge for us.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Come on! Stop playing with me! I owe your ass big time. Let's go! Thank you. Hey, nice catch, buddy. Proud of you.
And who better to break that play down than Boston Scott and Carson Wentz? Just an awesome throw, awesome play between those two guys to defeat the Giants back in Week 7. And this week here on Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's, I wanted to kind of reflect on watching film because oftentimes you will start to get the same kind of themes that pop up. And if you watch enough, you'll see, hey, this play reminds me of something I saw years ago. And when the Eagles were able to connect on that game-winning touchdown back in Week 7, two plays popped into my head, and they both were from that 2017 season, the Super Bowl year for this Eagles football team. And both plays went to running back Corey Clement. Now, what we're going to see here is another game against a division rival, prime time. This was Monday Night Football against the Washington football team. And you're going to see the Eagles are in the same part of the field that they were for that Boston Scott touchdown. They're down in the red zone. The New York player was a little bit further away, but you're going to see Corey Clement start to the flat, and then he's going to convert that route, just like Boston Scott just said. He's going to convert that route vertically, and Carson Wentz steps up and delivers an absolute dime. It's a different kind of play with the pressure that he's under, but a similar kind of throw over the shoulder. Defender can't touch it. Awesome catch along the sideline. Just a crazy, crazy play. And of course, that play, a lot of similarities. I think aesthetically, very, very similar to that Boston Scott touchdown, right? There was a lot of similarities there. But then you look at it from a schematic standpoint. And remember, the week after that New York touchdown from Boston Scott, we had Doug Peterson right here on the show, and he told me, yeah, this was a way to defeat bracket coverage. The New York Giants, they are a big believer in bracketing. That is essentially a double team in the secondary. And what you'll see a lot of teams do is really designate two players to take away a most dangerous receiver, maybe somebody that's working vertically down the field, or a more dangerous pass target. So like a Zach Ertz, this is from the Super Bowl. This is from Super Bowl 52. What you're going to see the Patriots do here is they're going to double team Zach Ertz. Now, if they had known on the whiteboard that Corey Clement was going to be running down the field here, they would have maybe tried to change up that coverage a little bit because you've got to account for that route down the field. But obviously, they don't know what the play call is, right? So when you look at New England as Zach Ertz is releasing into his route, look at these two defenders. They've got eyes right on Zach Ertz, and all he's going to do is work to the middle of the field, and that leaves a one-on-one matchup, Corey Clement working against a linebacker. Now, the big thing here that's the similarity is that this was a designed play. Boston Scott did a great job of converting his route vertically, but I think it's still the same idea of beating a bracket coverage. And remember, Joe Judge, the head coach from the New York Giants, Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, they both cut their teeth under Bill Belichick in New England, right? They were there with him for a long, long time. A lot of the same defensive philosophies carry over to this Giants football team. So you're going to see Corey Clement work vertically down the field. Nick Foles delivers one of the best throws in franchise history, and Corey Clement makes one of the best catches in franchise history. Touchdown, back of the end zone. Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl. So when I think back to that Boston Scott play to beat the New York Giants, those two plays really stand out to me. The Corey Clement touchdown against Washington, aesthetically very, very similar. But then you go to the schematic, the X's and O's aspect of it, defeating bracket coverage with a running back out of the backfield when he's not accounted for by the double team. A lot of similarities there. It's a fun part of studying film. We talk about it every single week right here on Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota.
How about that? The Eagles are going for 3 straight wins for the first time this year. They're hoping to beat the Giants for a 9th straight time. They've won 12 of the last 13 against the Giants. Hopefully that continues. Check out our PhiladelphiaEagles.com kickoff show, 12:15 on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Enjoy the Eagles being back from their bye. Another division matchup. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today.